What did the buffalo say to his son when he left for college? Bison.
Looks like we have to add Beskar to Twinkies and cockroaches as the only things that'll survive a nuclear explosion.
Dead, Tonwee's here.
Welcome to the Council of Nerds.
The Council of Nerds.
What did you say, Logan?
Yeah, I couldn't hear that.
It's from Star Wars Episode 2. It's young Boba Fett going, Dead, Tonwee's here.
Oh,
It's his. That was my take on a New Zealand accent from a 10-year-old kid.
that was really good. Well, welcome to the Council of Nerds, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian, as always, joined by Logan and Dan. Say hello, boys.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Nice. We are the Council of Nerds. You can find this lovely little podcast anywhere podcasts are available, namely Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube as well. And we also have quite a robust Instagram that also has a link to our Discord. So just join us up, have fun, talk with us, share how we can improve.
It.
Yeah, just Shia LaBeouf it and do it. But welcome back to another riveting episode. As you know, because Mandalorian Season 2 is in full swing, our episodes have mainly been about that lovely topic. So we are now into the next chapter, which I think, for the most part, I think we can agree was one of, if not the best episode so far.
Yes,
for this
I would
season.
agree
For
wholeheartedly.
this season.
I would agree, and I have talked to multiple people about it, and we all agree that I actually have put it in. I mean, this is at least top 3 for the whole series right now. For me, easily.
Yep. So this is chapter
6.
What?
Or sorry, I'm thinking episode. It's episode 6 of season 2, but it's chapter 14.
14.
Yeah.
Chapter 14, and it is called The Tragedy. And the moment I saw that come across at the beginning of the episode said The Tragedy, I was like, what?
Prepare yourself.
It's about Dan's life.
And I think what's interesting is depending on what...
I just got that. Sorry.
I think it depends on the way you watch the episode. But I think for me, The Tragedy was something different than maybe someone else might have saw, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, initial thoughts of the episode, very good. It had the action that I feel like had maybe been, I don't know, it had the right kind of action that I really enjoyed. Brought back some good characters that I was hoping to get more information on, and really pushed the story forward in a way that actually has some real conflict. Which I appreciate in a TV show, because so far it feels like they've just been on kind of a superfluous journey, and now they actually have an enemy that they need to go after. So those are my initial thoughts. Dan?
I liked the episode a lot. There was just one part I didn't like. I can talk about that later. But yeah, overall, it's super cool. It was cool to see like Boba Fett actually do something aside from getting knocked into a Sarlacc pit. Or just walking in a room, because that's all he did in the original trilogy. So that was super cool. Right there.
Yes. So spoiler alerts established now. Boba Fett comes back in this episode.
Okay. Everybody should know, but everybody should know by now. Like, we're gonna talk spoilers.
I know.
And if you haven't seen the episode by now, come on,
go watch it.
Yeah.
Come on, Jed.
Come on, son.
Anyway, so yeah. I loved this episode. Like I said, it's top 3, if not. I mean, for me, it's actually episode 3, chapter 3, actually, of the first season is my favorite episode, no matter what. Well, not no matter what, but so far. But this is easily number 2 for me. So top 3. And the thing I loved about this episode, honestly, was just the fact that it had a perfect balance. Like I think they've. It's sad that it took more than half a season for them to do this, which is a shame. But they found this perfect balance of fan service and pushing story, which they haven't really done very much in previous episodes this season. And, I mean, we all know my feelings on Ahsoka, but I've really felt like this whole season as well, especially with that Ahsoka episode, has just been like people coming in and overshadowing Mando and the child, and especially their story. So like everybody loved Cobb Vanth, and then seeing the Crate Dragon and all that was just kind of overshadowing them. Like we barely even saw Mando, I felt like. And then we had Bo-Katan, and then we had Ahsoka, and then when Cara Dune and Grief Karga came in, they kind of overshadowed. Like they've all just kind of been overshadowing Mando and the child. But this episode, they brought in Boba Fett perfectly to where like he wasn't overshadowing Mando in any way, and really kind of helped him push that story. Like they just were like push the story, and it's like finally.
And what was the name of the other chick that was there?
I can't remember her name.
I don't.
Well,
she was
regardless, she's from another episode in season 1,
Yeah, the Tatooine
Yeah.
episode.
the Tatooine
With the other
episode, and
bounty hunter.
she's not dead, right? Because she, like, her body's gone by the end of it or something.
It's weird because
And
like,
I was
I
super
thought she
curious what
was.
happened to her.
Well, her body wasn't
You thought
gone
she was
though.
dead?
Because her body wasn't at the very end of that episode. It showed Boots like walking up to her or whatever, and like her body was still on the ground. And so like I was like, oh,
Oh, right.
I thought she was dead, and those Boots were just like, like Mando was here or something like that. And
Yeah.
then like it was just like evidence or
It
whatever.
was- It was interesting to see them pull that character back from season 1, because I thought the character itself, even though I can't remember her name, was interesting in that episode.
Yeah.
As like an established person that at least Mando had heard of and had known.
Yeah.
As a pretty good bounty hunter, and then she kind of gets her butt kicked, and then now she's got like robo belly, and like
That was actually really cool. We've never
it was
really
really
seen like a
creepy. I was
cyborg
like,
chick.
"Ugh," like it made me kind of have my
Yeah.
skin.
She's
crawl,
got
like,
Robo Belly and Aimbot.
yeah. She's got aimbot now.
I was thinking that the whole episode, just bing, 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 and I was like, wow, that's insane.
Aimbot.
Okay,
She's
but
got the hacks.
She
bro.
it was said like earlier on that like, or not earlier
She
on
doesn't
in that
miss.
episode, but like in that episode in season 1 that like she's a sharpshooter. Like that's what
Mhm.
she does. She's just an amazing
She's
chef.
like, I don't miss, and he's like, yeah, I know.
But that was cool. I
Um,
liked that. I like seeing her little. I mean, it was weird and gross, but her cyborg belly was cool because, I mean, like we don't really. I mean, we've only seen that in arms, hands, really.
Sure.
Mhm.
We've never seen.
Yeah.
It really
I wonder
anywhere
how it
else.
works.
Yeah.
Like if you
Still,
watch the
like,
animated
use the
series,
bathroom?
you see a little bit more like Aura Singh has some like head implants and stuff,
Yeah.
but like
And then I guess
there's not-
Maul.
yeah,
It's got his
Maul's got
legs.
his lower half that's all robotic and stuff.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see that more. I don't know, like seen in like a life-saving apparatus, because that's really what it is. It's like that's what's keeping her alive, is that section of midriff that is basically attaching herself to her lower half.
Yeah.
Like, but
Um,
it's
Yeah. To give a little premise on the whole episode. So the story is that like Mando is bringing Baby Yoda or Grogu or the child or whatever you want to call him to this planet that he called Typho or Typhon or something.
Typhon.
Like that. Yeah.
Typhon. Yeah.
Which Ahsoka told
Typhon de
them
Leon.
there's like this. It's not like a Jedi temple, but this area with like a seeing stone. It's for Jedi to use the Force or something like that. To take him there, put him on the stone, and let him do his thing, and then a Jedi will come or something like that. And so they go there, and he puts the kid on the stone, and then there's like this beam of the Force. It's almost like a beacon, like the beacons are lit, that kind of thing.
Yeah. The peak in the Ministerith is lit.
Gondor calls for aid. Yeah, but so it's like Baby Yoda's. That's what my thought was. Like, I actually don't know what was going on there, but to me, because like at one point they kind of showed a wider shot of when it was going on, and it looked like that beacon was flying up. Like it was way
Mhm.
up in the sky, and so to me it was almost like a beacon to call a Jedi. So I wonder what
Her name is Fennec, by the way.
Fennec. Yeah.
Fennec.
Okay. But so I thought that was really interesting, and I also wanted to make note because it was like I watched the episode twice, and the first time I watched it, I thought this instantly, and I thought it again when I watched it again. But when Baby Yoda's sitting on that stone, and he's like doing his little meditation thing. He's
Mm.
got this total Yoda vibe. Like his face was very like Yoda, which was cool to see. I don't know why that was cool, but I think it kind of I keep forgetting that he's 50 years old, 50 plus years old, you know?
Mhm.
And so I think it's good to note that like he's not just like a dumb baby. You know, it's not like he can't do anything and he's helpless.
Well, some viewers of or listeners of this podcast may remember hearing of the fact that I have a 9-month-old, almost 10-month-old baby. I can't imagine having to live 50 years with my baby in the same state that Baby Yoda is in. Like, like my 9-month-old is just starting to learn how to walk on her own and all this stuff, and it's very fun and exciting as a first-time parent to be involved in. But like, she can't talk, right? She
Yeah.
says "dada" and goes blah 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 blah. That's it, right? That's functionally what Grogu does.
Yeah.
Like, besides his telepathic communications that he can do with other Jedi, like, so 50 years of not speaking. Y'all need to develop faster,
know.
Yoda species. Come on,
For being such
you're
a-
embarrassing yourself. Tighten up.
How did they
Let's do this.
survive?
For being
Honestly.
such a like strong in the force driven species, learn to talk, grow up.
Well, it's interesting. It's kind of gives me a thought. Does that species, like, if you found that homeworld, do they even speak? Or because they're all force sensitive, do they communicate telepathically? That'd be something interesting. And
True.
maybe that's why Yoda talks so weird.
Or
because
are they all
that's the
dead?
only way that he that's how the force structures sentences, because that's how he learned. That'd be kind of an interesting little thing. Like, force structures sentences are different than regular
They
speak.
are,
Like,
Yeah. I don't know. That would be
oh
interesting.
gosh,
That
that was
I
a
mean,
tangent.
I mean, I also
enjoyed
wonder
it.
if time is. I don't, because I mean, Yoda's
It's relative.
He died at what 960 or whatever years old. So it's like,
Methuselah age.
yeah. So I mean, like 50 years old really isn't very old. I mean, it should be older than a baby though, in my mind. Anyway, I do have a couple things from this episode though that were like, I felt like the writers should have been like, oh yeah, maybe we should do something a little more specific about that. Like little plot holes or loopholes or whatever. The first thing is, my friend actually brought this up yesterday when we were talking about the episode, and Mando was up there while Boba and Ferrick were fighting those stormtroopers. By the way, the Empire comes in because they want the kid, and they have that tracker on the ship. And Mando had the high ground.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot they
yeah.
had a tracker on the ship.
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
The whole time, like, how do they know he's there? Is it
Yeah.
because of the beacon?
I was
I'm
like,
an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I thought the same thing.
Yeah. So for everybody,
I was gonna bring that up too.
in the Cara Dune episode where they like siege that place, there's like that random like mechanic alien when Mando first arrives in Navarro who plants a tracker on his
Repairs his
ship who's working for the Empire.
Ship and plant, yeah.
Yeah.
Sneaky guy.
But anyway, so they're down. All the stormtroopers, first of all, well, it's not stupid. It was like the only place they could land, but they land very low ground. Now, there's an echo of my voice. Anyway, Mando has the absolute high ground. And when he's like, okay, I'm going to protect you, child or kid, he's just like, I'm out. I'm not taking the high ground anymore. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Everybody knows in Star Wars that the high ground wins every time. And then also, he like puts down his jetpack. Like Boba Fett's like, put down your jetpack. And then like, he never picks it back up. And that bothers the crap out of me. It's like, dude, you ran up this hill like twice. Just use your jetpack. I don't know. That bothered me a lot, but
I knew it was gonna happen when he set it down and ran off and didn't pick it up. I'm like, he's gonna need that later and not have it.
I know. I don't know. I just feel like they maybe should have done something a little different because it's like, dude, it was right there. It's not like you lost it. You just set it down. Just pick it up.
And why, like, you put down your gun, I'll put down my jetpack, you know? Like,
I know.
why don't you both put down your guns?
'Cause that's my weapon.
I won't fly away.
Yeah.
I did like the moment where Boba Fett flips down the thing again and like shoots the missile, and he
Mhm.
hits the like. I'm like, watch, he's gonna hit the one above,
That's
so it
exactly what
falls
I
down
did.
and hits the other one. And I love. He's like, I was aiming for the other one. And I love. That's such a funny moment for me. It made me like that. I like that Dan did bring up like besides like the stuff where you have young Boba Fett in Clone Wars and stuff. The only stuff we've really seen in live action of Boba Fett is him entering a room, being told no vaporizations, and then getting his jetpack hit with the butt end of a rifle and him flying into a Sarlacc pit.
Yep.
So it was nice that he had like his moment where, like when the moment where he looked at the Razor Crest and the door was open, I thought he was gonna fly away. Like I was like, "What are you doing? Why would you do that?" And then he comes out with the armor. I'm like, "That's so much better!" Like, I'm so glad I don't write TV shows because I would do a really bad job. But it was really cool for him to walk out, and it seemed like he maybe gained some weight since the last time he wore the armor.
Okay. But like he's also Tamora Morrison is that was when did episode 2 come out? 2002.
Right.
It's almost 20 years ago.
Well, I just mean the
Wow.
character seemed like he didn't quite fit in the armor, which I thought was kind of. I just was like,
I actually liked
it's
it
been a
more.
while.
I'm not
It's
gonna
been a
lie.
bit.
Boba don't fit.
Boba don't fit.
I actually liked it a lot more as like a bigger dude. Oh, and then also I just wanted to point out to put into perspective about how overhyped Boba Fett was throughout all these years. He had 6.5 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy. And that was something huge for me with this episode with Boba Fett, because since I think they introduced Boba Fett in a parade in California or something. Like they had a big Star Wars thing. I don't know. But it was before episode 5 came out. So episode 5 came out in I think 1980, and it was sometime in between 77 and 1980 that Boba Fett was in that parade. They introduced him in episode 5, like screen-wise, They introduced him. And ever since then, which I think was 1980, 1981 or whatever, he has been deemed like the coolest bad A character of Star Wars. And he had 6 minutes of screen time.
Isn't that
And that's
weird?
between 2 movies. He had 6 minutes.
That's pretty bad, eh? Yeah.
And he did nothing but like say a couple lines, hold a gun, stand there, touch a girl's chin, an alien chick's chin, and then like fall into a Sarlacc pit. And everyone is like, "Oh hell, Boba!" And I'm not gonna lie, I loved Boba because he looked super cool. But it
Well,
is
you
Yeah.
think that
finally,
last thing that happened to him would eliminate him from the badass list?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you think that him
Yeah.
getting completely dunked on by a blind Han Solo
yeah.
would just eliminate
Well,
him
he's like
from
Boba Fett, where? And then like moves and his spear hits his jetpack. And he's like, ah, yeah.
like you'd think that would knock him off the list, but people were just like, no, all hail Boba, he survived. Like
Well, wait,
instantly
What's
people were like
what's the line from Fanboys
Lord
Windows?
Boba.
He's like, he says like,
you got to stop perpetuating that Boba Fett was just some kind of
badass.
badass. He had a jetpack, so did the Rocketeer.
At the end of the day, he's Michael Bay. No substance, or all style, no substance. Yeah, that's
Michael Bay, if you're listening, we're sorry. That wasn't a slight directed directly to you. I enjoyed the first couple Transformer movies.
I enjoyed the first
So-
one, and that's about it.
I think I
And the
liked
Bumblebee
second one.
movie. But I don't think he did Bumblebee.
I think Michael Bay needs to like take it back a little bit on when explosions happen. Sparks don't fly everywhere like Power Rangers. Like that doesn't actually happen in real
Like
life.
when they punch it like the
explosions-
mech and it's like
Yeah, it's like that's Michael Bay. All his explosions. Pay attention. There's just like sparks everywhere, and you're like, why? Like it wasn't an electrical explosion. It was just like a gasoline. one.
He should do those dubstep bombs from episode 2 in all of his movies now.
Dubstep. Yeah.
And the space chase.
Those
Yeah.
are awesome. I was like,
Those are
what?
the best.
Yeah, the bow. Yeah, okay, anyway.
Hmm.
That was a huge tangent. But my point was that it is nice to see it is nice to finally like see Boba Fett as an actual bad A. Like smashing buckets and just taking troopers down left and right with what to me looks like a Tusken Raider weapon.
Bow staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that thing
has
Bow
was
to
staff
be.
sweet.
skills.
Yeah, bow hunting skills too. Yeah, that was really cool to see. And then I loved when he put his armor on and started fighting again. It just was so natural. Like he knew every weapon. He knew exactly how to use everything.
The knee rockets.
The
that was so
kneecap thing,
cool.
yeah.
That was so cool.
That's when they went, we're gonna turn around now. Like, I'm out. Like,
Get back to the ship. Go.
go, dive,
Yeah,
dive.
that was awesome.
I do agree that I did like how, like, I don't know if visceral is the right way, but I liked how he was hitting the stormtroopers and like their masks were like cracking and like splitting open. Like,
Dude, when it showed that one on the ground and like half of his helmet and head was just like on the ground, just like broken. And like, ooh. He
was laying like Family Guy characters when they fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Just all twisted and everything.
I think it was cool. I think Fennec really was cool too. Just like Dan was saying, aimbot, but like she really wasn't missing. Like,
dude, when she
really
jumped
the
off
entire
that
time
rock and like turned around, she's like pew pew, and then like,
Yeah.
landed. That was sweet.
Like the whole thing was really cool, and the whole time I was like, man, it must be a marathon hike because Mando is taking his dang time getting to this fight. And I, of course, because that's just how TVs are, the moment he turns around and goes, okay, I'm going to protect you, kid's
He's
down.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
hated that.
you couldn't, and you didn't take it. You're telling me that Mando didn't have one thought to turn around and look, like the whole time? Didn't even think about it? Like, come on.
Okay, to be fair though, let's put this in perspective. You're a father, right?
Yeah.
If your kid was
No.
right there and these stormtroopers are trying to take your kid, would you try and get your kid and take the kid away and protect her, or would you like keep looking behind your back to see if these stormtroopers are?
To be honest, in that situation, I would have said, "Hey, Boba, Fennec, get up here, and we'll defend from the high ground, like you said earlier."
It's over, stormtroopers. I have the high ground.
And I would not have left my child in a
Right.
vulnerable state like that.
Right.
Like, say my kid's in an iron lung and it can't move. I'm not going to just leave the area.
Right.
Like, I'm going to have my last stand defending my child in that situation.
But also, to be fair, because that's a good point, not Boba. All Mando knows is fighting, right?
Right.
He doesn't know how to be a father or anything. I mean, he's doing the best he can.
What a scrub
He's
dad.
doing the best
Gosh.
he can, man.
Scrub lord.
A kid needs
I
a
Hate the
daddy.
way media portrays
A
dads.
kid needs a daddy. He just
wants to have a game of catch.
Let's have a game of catch. Is that what you
He's
said?
like, yeah, he goes I think every morning he probably goes up to Baby Yoda and he's like, "Hey champ, want to have a game of catch?" And then
Hey,
he
sport.
gets that little ball.
Take it.
And he's
Take
like, "Take it." And he's like, "Good one." And then he grabs it again.
I love how the kid takes it and he just goes, "Dang, Ferric!" Like he goes like,
and then he drops it.
He's like, "Sorry," and he's like, "No." Like,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah, that was
I mean, I'm really interested actually to hear Dan's why Dan has strong negative feelings about a certain part in this episode.
One last thing before that.
Yeah.
That's also a little critique, a minor critique, but my friends also pointed this out and I didn't even think about it until the second time I watched the episode. Why Mando like never uses his rifle? He's used it like twice. And I mean like once like really successfully with the Jawas in like episode 1 or 2 of the first season. And so I mean, is his rifle gone? I mean, that's what I'm getting. Like it's blew up
poofed.
the ship.
Yeah.
And that's sad. So, anyway, moving
They
on.
stop poofed.
Poofed.
Dan?
Yeah, the part I didn't like was the dark troopers.
Why?
I thought they were cool looking. It was the way they flew down. It reminded me of like Iron Man, and like that just took away from the whole episode because I'm like, why is Iron Man abducting these kids? And it like took me out of the Star Wars universe, and I was like, man, there's
Welcome back
so
to
many
Marvel.
Marvel movies.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna-
exactly.
Okay, but I'm going to say this. How did you want them to fly down? because
with a jetpack.
they were though.
But it was on their feet. That's it doesn't make sense.
It does. Okay, but then
Oh,
Iron Man
crap.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Okay, I think that's
Dan has strong opinions across the board.
I think it's a point of perspective because here's the thing. I'm not a Marvel guy. I don't really care for the Marvel movies, and I don't own any of them, and I very, very rarely watch them. I like the first Iron Man, and I like Thor Ragnarok, and that's about it, and I barely watch those, right? People are going to call me crazy. That's fine. I just don't really care about the
Crazy.
whole superhero thing. So for me, when I saw them flying with their feet, I did not even think about Iron Man. I thought droids, like super battle droids, basically, made to look like troopers flying down. Like I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, wow, it's really cool to see characters that were legends now canon on a live action screen. Like for me, I was like, that's awesome.
I wish the only thing I wish that had happened was one would have stayed behind, and it would have taken I wish we could have seen
A fight.
a demonstration of how powerful they are.
Yeah.
And like one of them stayed behind to like cover the rest of them getting back to the ship because it was that close to them getting the kid or whatever. And it took all three of them to take down one dark trooper. You know, like I wish there was something like that to show that they're not just like a run of the mill droid.
Yeah.
Because if you think about Clone Wars, like droids are dumb. Like that, like that's the meme.
Not all of
Droids
them.
are not intelligent. Not all of them, but like you have like your general droids or whatever, the tacticians and stuff that are smarter. Yes,
Regular. I think they're like they call them T1 battle droids or something like that. I don't know.
something like that. So I just wish there was more of a demonstration, but I guess it is kind of like that teaser of like, let's see what they can do. But is there only 5 of them? Or 4, however many came down? Or
remember at the end? Oh yeah, only a few came down. But do you remember at the end?
There was that room full of them.
Yeah, it seemed like they had like 2 sides, like of
at least
with like
at least like a squad of them or something.
Yeah,
like
I would say at least 10.
Right.
And so maybe they only sent down half.
Yeah, but it's just like
maybe they only had a.
What, Dan?
I was gonna say maybe they only had like half operational. Because Moff Gideon asked the lady, he was like, "Are they ready or something?" She's like, "Yeah."
That's true.
So she sent them.
Good call.
I think it would be great if they were like, you know, you have like the assassin droids that were really cool in the Clone Wars that were super fast, able to do that, and then you had like Grievous's guards that had those like electro staffs that were really cool as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that they, you know, pull out some stops and show that these guys aren't just, you know, thick armored droids with blasters. I hope there's more to them than just like their blaster droids. Like I hope there's more, and I don't think that they would miss that opportunity. But
I've honestly never really read too much about Dark Troopers, so I think if we just read about them, because like you know they were legends, they were in a book. So I
mean, take the time to do our job and study nerdy things.
I should probably.
I did.
Oh wow. Good for you, buddy.
Wow, Dan, you're stepping up to the plate.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more to them, and I think they were cool. I will say when they were coming down, right? The shot of their face, it had like water on it because they came through clouds. That was super cool. I don't know why, but man, I like that detail. Let's get sorry. Before we keep we're like all over the place. So I want to say, let's do there's like a few things that we need to do. First off, I want to say I called it in our earlier episode from this season where I said you guys were like, oh, Boba's gonna be with the Empire, or you know, it was a theory that you guys were thinking about. And I was like, I think I'm going to take a different route. And I said, I think he's going to be good and he's going to join with Mando. I called it. Done. So that's one point. Another point is that we haven't really touched on, which Brian brought up at the very beginning, which this episode is called The Tragedy. Now, most people's brains will be like, the tragedy is that at the end, Baby Yoda was taken by the Dark Troopers and by the Empire.
Right.
Ryan has a different perspective, and I completely agree with him on this perspective. So we will let Brian take this.
Dan talking about earlier how he enjoyed seeing an aerial bombardment. A good, nice, large ship blaster shot hitting the ground. What it hit was our dearly departed Razor Crest, the loyal ship of Mando.
Who can say where the road goes?
We want to put together an in memoriam video just for the Razor Crest.
Razor
Um,
Crest.
if she's this, I'm gonna say she because generally
It's a
most
ship.
people, it's a she. She survived that big old spider thing just to get smooshed by a big old chunk of laser, and that for me was way more sad than the child being taken because everyone knows they're gonna go get Grogu. Everyone knows that Mando is gonna kill himself or get the baby back. Like,
Yeah.
those are his options. You're not gonna fix a vaporized ship, brother. Like, it is muy gone.
Brother.
It's not just a little gone. It's super dead. It's more dead than the rabbit Dan hit going 85 miles an hour on a road trip we took.
Maybe.
Splat.
Like, it is super toasted. And the only thing that survived was his Beskar steel spear, which was cool to see that it survived.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, that for me was the tragedy of the episode was that ship is gone because I really think that ship is super cool.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pre-Empire ship that he's kept up on and had put. It's like his baby,
Really cool
like,
design.
yeah, it was different. It wasn't just like a run-of-the-mill ship, and so I appreciated that. It had like its own weird Millennium Falcon vibe for me of like it's kind of a piece of crap, but it's also super cool.
Mhm.
Like, it had that kind of like quality to it, and now that it's gone, I mean, the cool thing is that we'll see more of Slave One, which is Boba Fett's ship, which I really do like Slave One. I think Slave One's a cool ship, but I really liked the unique aspect of this new ship that we saw. So I think that for me was the tragedy.
I think I wholeheartedly agree with that. It was the biggest tragedy. I also want to make point of when the ship blows up. If watch the episode again or watch this part again, but look at Mando's reaction, right? You can't see his face, but you can see like this intensity in him where he's just like, did they just do that? And he's just like, you can just tell, like, he just like tenses up and his head's like kind of tilted, just like, oh, he's so mad. And I love that. And I think one reason that a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people might really love the Razor Crest, at least for me, what I've noticed, is it has a very similar like vibe in design as the LAAT like trooper transports from the Clone Wars. So the ships, like when you take those like paper clip things, those like black paper binder things, and you would put them
I
down.
think that's where they got the inspiration. In a whole honesty,
I'm sure it is. I was
what
there.
I liked.
It is.
What I liked was the little ball turrets they had
Yeah.
on the guys with the lasers, like, and they would just like slice things in half with them. I always thought that was super cool.
Yeah. So I think everybody kind of loves that design, and that's the kind of vibe I got from that ship. But yeah, that's a tragedy in my opinion.
Muy triste
Yeah. So and now to like kind of
for our Spanish friends.
to move along a little bit. I don't think we have any Spanish listeners.
No, we did pick up someone from Croatia. International audience.
Okay, so to move along with this episode, because there's some minor
dumb.
points like towards the end, right? That's a good dance, Dan. The shoulder shimmy. Anyway, so towards the end, right? So after all that crap happens, Baby Yoda gets taken by the Empire. Razor Crest blown up. What's her name? Ferric? No.
Fennec.
Dang. It's
Ferric.
Dank Ferric, and then Fennec is her. Okay.
And Fennec Shad is her full name.
Fennec Shad, Boba Fett, and Mando get on Slave One. They fly to Navarro, where Mando goes in and he's like, "Oh, you're like the official marshal of the New Republic," talking to Cara Dune, which I thought was a cool little thing. She's now official. She's legit. Because I think Mando says like, "I've heard talk you've gone legit." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool. That's a cool way to talk. I'm gonna start talking like that."
Next time he sees either of us, heard you gone legit. Like,
word on the streets,
hey,
you got
Logan.
legit, Dan and Brian.
If you had a kid, like, Dad, you're embarrassing me. Stop. This is how the kids talk, okay?
I'm hip, yo. But yeah, so that was cool. But I loved how when he was like, "Hey, I need you to look this prisoner up," and Bill Burr is back, baby. I was pumped for that. I was like,
love
bring
Bill
back
Burr.
that Galaxy Boston accent. I love that.
Your cousin from Boston. Like, good grief, that guy.
I love that, man. And then, but it was also really cool where he was like, these when Kara says these stripes means there's rules now, and he's like, they took the kid, and she was like, what? Like, all right, now I'm in.
All rules are off. Let's
Um,
go. No holds barred.
yeah,
It's on.
But it was also really cool. Before that, all that, he's like, I need a favor, and she's like, name it. Like it did. She didn't even think about it. It was like instant. Like just name it.
Boom.
I was like, man, that's cool. Like that's loyalty right there. Loved
That's a
that.
friend.
And then I think
She's not a hoe.
a part that everyone can agree was like, I guess not necessarily meant to be funny, but was just like really kind of funny to see, is a 50-year-old green alien baby force choking and force pushing two stormtroopers back and forth and just destroying them. But
I have an interesting thought there.
I did too.
As-
The first time I thought, but you can go. You go for it.
It's the other thing for me that could also be the tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's giving into the
That
fear
dark
that
side.
Ahsoka saw in him, that Ahsoka was scared of.
It's dangerous.
Because that is a dark side. Like choking someone with the Force is a dark ability. It's not something you do on the good side. Like
No.
you can use the Force to
Star
manipulate
Killer.
someone to make them pass out. Like we've seen that before, where like the Force is used and they kind of and they like faint, but they don't they don't choke. And so that really, I was super sad
Dude,
to
it was,
see him being put in a situation where he's so scared that he's doing that, and so that really bummed me out. And for me, could have also been the tragedy that was referred to of him giving into his fear. And I mean, it's hard because he's still, for all intents and purposes, a baby.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's 50, but like that's a tenth of the age of Yoda or whatever,
Yeah.
And so
20th.
Anyway.
whatever. But
I did math.
if my kid is a tenth of my age, they're 2.5. That's barely a functioning human. So yeah, that was sad for me. But I want to hear your opinion too.
My instant take on it was, first of all, I started laughing just because it was funny to see this baby just wrecking these two stormtroopers,
Get
with the
wrecked.
Force, which was fun to see. But with what you were saying, I was like, ooh, I think that's a lot more interesting than people. I'm sure a lot of people notice it, but there's also a lot of people who watch this show who don't really know much about Star Wars. But it's a great show to watch, so they watch it, which is fine. That's what the point of the show. But the fact, like, how dangerous it is to see this kid force choking two stormtroopers at once, right? That's dangerous because, I mean, Yoda said it in the prequels, right? Like, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering or whatever. And obviously Baby Yoda is scared. And he's obviously now angry, right? And so the thing that I was like, whoa, that's a little scary. But the thing that pushed me to like, whoa, that is scary, is when Moff Gideon walks in and he's choking those two, the stormtrooper's like, we need to stop him or whatever. And he's like, no, wait. And he just lets Baby Yoda do it because he knows. Like you can see that he knows. He's smiling. And he goes down and he's like, you've gotten pretty good at that, haven't you? And then, it makes him he's not a adult, or I guess strong Force user right now, so it makes him very sleepy. But it's like Brian said, it's a very dark side thing to do, and I like the dark side. I'm like a big the dark side's evil. I got it. I'm more of a I got
It's because
that.
you're a Slytherin.
I think it's because I'm a ginger, but I the Jedi. Okay, the Jedi are right in some things, not the Order, but like their mindset in some things.
Gray Jedi is the way to go.
Right, which
We're not going to get into that, but
I just want to
Dark
say,
killer.
I just want to say, like I'm not this kind of person, but I know that people get really upset. Technically, Gray Jedi isn't a thing. Like the title Gray Jedi isn't a thing.
Oh
They've
my
like come out and
gosh.
said that, but the middle ground, Ahsoka, right? Ahsoka is not
Qui-Gon.
Jedi. She's not part of the
Qui-Gon.
Order. Yeah, Qui-Gon was part of the Order, but he just didn't follow the rules. Like
Right.
that's the middle ground is the right way to go. But the dark side is technically more powerful in my opinion. I mean, they use both sides of the Force, whereas the Jedi only used half.
well, they always lose. So explain me that, Logan.
The Jedi are cheating.
Ooh, cheaters.
Cheater.
Aimbot.
That's from
It's because the light side had Rey.
okay.
Duh.
Can't lose.
It's so when you think about what Grogu is doing in that moment, right? Think about in real life, you're actually choking someone out with your bare hands. You don't do that casually. Like you do that with pure hatred.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing that to someone, you're either in a life-threatening situation or you completely and utterly despise and hate that person. And so, it's never been like blatantly said, but like not to change tack, but in Harry Potter, to use the unforgivable curses, you have to feel hatred.
Right.
Like you have to feel those horrible emotions for it to be effective, which is why Mad Eye in the 4th book says, all of you could say Avada Kedavra right now and I might get a nosebleed. That's
Right.
maybe what would happen to me because you don't feel it. But there's people who do, and they can like, so I feel like it's never been said explicitly, but I feel like that translates to a lot of the dark Force abilities of you need to feel hatred and anger and fear and all these negative emotions in such a real way for it to translate into that kind of power. And like that's what's scary. That's what's scary for me is that he could just be super scared, or he could be super pissed, or he could hate them. Like
Or
there's so many
both.
things, like or all of it, and it's like none of it leads to good stuff, you know. So it was an interesting moment, and like what Logan was saying, I think a bigger moment than a lot of people are giving credit to, as like, yeah, it's funny because these stormtroopers are getting their butt kicked by a 6-inch tall green frog man.
Yeah.
But like, well, not frog, but
Frog baby.
you know what I mean. There's a lot to that moment, and that's where our nerdness shines. I think is highlighting those moments. And you're welcome, audience.
Yeah. Gosh. But yeah,
Ungrateful little.
that's actually a really good point. I like that whole tie-in with Harry Potter and the unforgivable curses. It makes a lot of sense. And actually, I want to backtrack and say that I think the real tragedy that they're talking about in this episode is that it's only a 30-minute long episode. Because let's put it this way. Now, don't get me wrong. I have enjoyed this season. The episodes have been super fun. Not story-wise, but as just fun episodes, action and stuff, super fun. Episode 1 was almost an hour long. To put that in perspective, most of what we saw did not further the story. We got a lot of Cobb Vanth and him not fitting Mando or Boba Fett's armor. And we got a sand dragon thing. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I really liked that episode. It was super fun. But do not make it an hour long unless you're going to make important episodes an hour long. Like, come on, son. Like, really, man. Like, I know all my friends, like people who don't know each other. Like, I have this friend and then this friend and then, my brother as well. Like, we were all just like a half hour. Like, really? 30 minutes? For an episode this awesome and this important to the story. It was a shame. It was a tragedy.
Yeah.
I want to cry. But I think we're hitting a good time to transition into what we do, what we've been doing every week ever since Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out, and that is
Little update.
a little update, yeah, on our time put into
There's-
the game.
There's some good stuff. I mean, you two got some. Logan's got some good report here.
Yeah.
So
Brian, of course, is in the lead, but yeah, me and Dan are neck and neck. I'm in last place still, but I put in a good amount of work this week. I put in a part-time job of Assassin's Creed this week. I put in about 20 hours. So last week I was at 32. This week I am at 52 hours. So that is
Very
good
nice.
numbers.
yes, that is mine.
Dan,
I
where
am
you
at 57 and a half hours. The half matters.
Okay,
The half
mine is
does
like
matter.
52 and 15 minutes, bro.
That's a quarter.
That's cool.
Okay. So I know that I'm surprised, honestly, that I haven't been reached out to by more of my friends that I know listen to this podcast and not got made fun of more for the amount of time
Or-
I've put into this game.
Or say like, "Hey, buddy, is everything okay?
You okay?
Is everything okay at
Like,
home?
you sleeping on the couch? Like, is that why?
You got a
no,
lot of
and
time on your hands."
that's not what's happening. So, I am
He
at.
doesn't sleep.
I do. Dan actually tried to text me at like midnight 15 last night and was like, "You up?" And I was like, "Are you trying to booty call me to video games?" It was like my thought the next morning because I definitely was asleep by the time he texted me. But Dan tried to straight up booty call me to play video games. But I am at 87 and 10 minutes hours. I have like
That's over 3.5 days.
I think if you combine what I have collectively left to do, I have like 1.5 full areas, 2.5 full areas to get done. And I've killed the vast majority of the random members of the society you're supposed to kill.
League of Shadows.
That's the Order of the Ancients.
Yeah.
I think I have like maybe one more codex page to get. The mini bosses I've all beaten except for like one or two. Like I have ground that game into a messy pulp, and I am going to platinum it. I am going to take all of the time I need to fish every kind of fish that you are in the game because that's a trophy. I finally found a firefly and released that in my settlement and got that
Dude,
trophy.
Where?
Lucky.
I
Where did you
honestly
find it?
don't know. I was running around and I was on my horse and I got knocked off by a firefly. I'm not even
What?
kidding you. I was like, "What the heck?" And it was like, "Collect firefly," and I was like, "Yep." And I just like my guy just grabbed it. I'm almost to level 6 with my settlement, but I still got a ways to go to there. I think I only have like 3 raids left that I can do. Like I'm on the grind, boys. And I think that ultimately I'll probably hit 100 hours and then I'll be done.
So, but do you
halfway.
have a giant golden Valkyrie statue in your settlement? Because I do. So
Did you pay for it?
with real money? No. Kidding me? I ain't got money.
I only have like the Roman statues you get from like the Roman artifact collector guy.
I got mine
That's
from
really what I have.
I got mine from that kid who's like in charge of that trading.
Oh,
He does
I do need to do
contracts.
10 contracts for him. That's a trophy.
Dude, I
do
already
need to
did
do
that.
those.
Contracts are fun. I do want to say though, a lot of I'm very behind story wise. I think because not a lot of time. Sometimes when I get on to play, I don't do anything story. I'll just go on. I'll go hunting because I really enjoy like hunting animals for some reason. And then I will maybe just go like ransack another abbey, even though I already have. Or I'll just like explore around. Like I'll just roam around, try to do some mysteries, get some treasure or whatever. So a lot of the time I don't even push the story on the game. But So I have like a lot to do, but I like it that way. I'm slow at it because I just want it to last, you know?
Yeah. I've definitely done a few areas. Like I am 8 points away from being max leveled, which is level 400 in case anyone was curious. So I'm 392. Not to brag.
I'm at like 135 or something.
Wow.
And so I've definitely gone to a few territories that I don't have a mission in whatsoever and just cleaned it out of collectibles and mysteries and whatever because I'm there. Like I'm by there, so I'm like, well, I might as well just do it, get all the fast travel points because I'm sure I'll have to come back for the story later and I'll just be able to fast travel wherever I need to go and it'll just be easy. So
True.
but I feel like I am fairly through the story. Like I'm not sure to be honest with you, but
Well, and then there's future DLCs that are going to come out too.
oh, and I'm gonna
Right.
did I get the gold edition? I think I bought the gold edition. So
That's
I'm
the
gonna get all
cheap
the
one,
deals.
Emily.
Don't talk to my wife directly through the podcast, Dan.
Directly through the podcast.
How dare you? But yeah, I like the game. A lot of people have kind of been slamming on it recently online and
Really?
criticizing it.
I love it.
And it's just I don't know what people I don't think anybody will ever be just happy with the game.
No, it's
And
like Star
so
Wars.
yeah,
I've actually been saying this a lot. And I'm tying this back to the Mandalorian sort of actually because I find that, and I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but the Star Wars community, I've actually kind of distanced myself from it because I just can't stand it anymore. But they haven't they're having a hard time finding a balance on how to
in the Force.
yeah, on how to like criticize something and love it, right? So
Right.
I find that in the Star Wars community, you get this group who are like super toxic, right? And I had I think it was one of my friends said he read on Reddit that this goes with the toxic group. There people are just like the Mandalorian isn't that great. It's just a bunch of side quests. And it's like, do you know like there's a whole in writing a story, there's a whole story arc, and then a whole story arc is made up of a bunch of little story arcs. So
Right.
yeah, side quests, grow up. And then you get the other side that's like, I don't care what you guys put out Star Wars, I'm going to love it. You know, I'm just anti-toxic anything. And it's like, which isn't bad, but it's also like, guys, you can critique things. That's why
Yeah.
like I feel like my unpopular opinion of the live action Ahsoka, I've seen both sides where people were like, I mean, the toxic side isn't really that toxic. They don't even know anything about Ahsoka, so they don't care because they were like, "Oh, I hate animation," and that's where their toxic part comes in. So they don't know anything about Ahsoka. But then you get the side that's just like, "Wow, like that was an amazing job on Ahsoka." And don't get me wrong, Rosario Dawson did a great job for what she could do. Honestly, everything she did was great. It was none of this was her. All the negative stuff I have about it wasn't her fault. It was just the production and their decisions on the way she looked and how she talked and all that stuff. It just wasn't right. But I'm unpopular for that because there's no balance. Like just find a balance, guys. It's okay to critique something you love. Like the
Right.
sequels aren't the greatest
think
movies in
about-
the world, but you know,
think about
they're
your
movies.
like
They're fun.
not that we need to get into like this deep philosophical conversation, but like your family. You love your family, they're not perfect, and you
Right.
tell them when they're doing something that you don't appreciate that they do. Like
Yeah.
you can critique your friends even though you love them and they're being a jerk, you tell them they're being a jerk. Like
Right.
it's okay. It doesn't mean you don't love it anymore. You don't have to just be a milk sopping moron that follows whatever anybody says. Like
Yeah.
just because Star Wars puts out content doesn't mean it's great. Like the holiday special Lego thing was funny and okay, but it wasn't groundbreaking. It
No,
wasn't this
yeah.
amazing thing that I'm going to watch every year at Christmas time.
And-
Whereas the original Christmas special, I could make that a tradition.
and it completely sucks, right? Like the original one is garbage, but I love it and I do make it a tradition. But like, I mean, I point towards like me and my brother spoke about this yesterday. The sequel trilogy, right? You get the toxic people who are like, oh, it's garbage. I'm done with Star Wars. I'm not even going to watch Star Wars anymore. Disney ruined Star Wars. It's like, okay, chill, first of all. Then you get the people who are like, I love everything they do. And it's like, okay, it wasn't that good. Like, come on, guys.
Let's find some middle ground here.
Yeah,
folks.
like they made many mistakes, but it's still a fun movie. It's fun to see Star Wars content, whether it's good or bad. Like, I don't know. That's my little rant for the day. But I think that's a good spot to sign off on.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it was
Thank you.
fun.
All right.
This is man, we didn't work on the sign off thing. That is
Did you I didn't listen back to
I
it to
didn't
see
either.
what it was.
This is the
Word
word of the nerd.
Word nerds.
We gotta work on that, man. Oh, my voice just cracked again. Why does it do that?
You need to work on that. Like,
Shout out to
you need to
Croatia.
do some like vocal warm-ups before you record or something. You
Leather-
freaking
Or go
clod.
through
Leather
puberty.
licking liberty.
Is that one? I know red leather, yellow leather, green leather, purple leather.
No, I just made that one up.
Unique New York.
You need New York. No, you know New York. You need New York. You know
Unique.
you need unique New York.
Okay.
Also,
Anyway.
just say toy boat over and over and
Yeah,
over
I
again.
can't do that
That
one.
one's annoying.
Toy boy, toy boy, toy boy.
Toy boy, toy boy.
Toy boy, toy boy, toy boy.
All right. Anyway, again, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, Podbean, Google Podcasts, about any other podcast platform. We have a Discord. It's really fun. I don't know if you guys saw, 2 of my friends chimed in. They haven't been here in a while, but they threw in some funny stuff.
Yeah, I saw it was funny. I was looking at it while we were recording.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Me
the,
too.
The Skyrim one was really funny. I
Yeah, every time there's a mud crab around.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a Discord. It's fun. We throw in a lot of memes. That's basically the whole point of it, nerdy memes. And if you want to join that, the link for it is in our bio on Instagram, the Council of Nerds Instagram. If there's an issue with it, just like comment on one of the pictures that we have in our Instagram, and we'll fix it or something.
Or DM us.
Yeah, or DM us, whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching. We have a really good time doing this. If you have any suggestions, that's why we have the Discord to throw in suggestions and help us out. So yeah, thanks for everything, and we will catch you guys next week for the next
On the flip
Mandalorian
side.
episode. Bye.
Bye, kiddos.
The Council of Nerds.